So the next section is a big picture, is what we call the big picture. And it's how you see the world moving forward. So the first one is, in 20 years, what do you see the Central Coast looking like, and what will be success?
Wow, what does success look like? That waterfront's going to be spectacular, I can tell you right now. I don't necessarily know what it's going to look like, but it will be spectacular. The reality is as well, and Chris Minns is onto it now, the population density around our train lines is going to increase. And we're about to see Gosford go to a new height. We've got the towers on the waterfront there, going the St Heliers accommodation towers. There were going to be three or two accommodation, one business. COVID's changed the shape of business, so there's possibly a third tower with accommodation, which is also great for the downsizing and the ageing population. The beautiful Archibald's going to be fantastic, but they're going to be big towers, which are going to shock coasties for a while. But the reality is we're going to go up because it's the nature of our population. It's cheaper to be in town centres, and it's much better environmentally than spreading out. And my vision for Woy Woy is to be able to go up as well. The reality is the peninsula's divine. Like, I moved there I was living in Paris, I got offered a job in Woy Woy. I'm like, water on three sides, a train line north and south, a ferry and the expressway. It's such an amazing location, so close to Sydney, and that will go up as well. So that's the reality of the future of densification, which means that we need to make sure that we really look after our public green spaces and make sure we've got all that active transport and our beaches are there and cared for. There's another vision to have Dardanelles Avenue on the peninsula, a beautiful green avenue of trees so people don't have to get in their cars. I mean, people ask me, can we have another story on the car park at the beach? Let's have a think about how we look like into the future about using transport. So another way, getting people out of their cars on the peninsula. If that was Europe, it's 6 k's from the train station to the beach. There would not be a car going down to the beach.
It'd be public transport.
Public transport and bicycles.
Yeah.
Bicycles, absolutely. But there's a real tipping point. Like, it's more challenging in the hillier parts of the coast, but the peninsula for bicycles has got to be an absolute delivery.
So, regional Australia. So we've spoken about the Central Coast. Broader than the Central Coast in regional Australia, what does that look like for you?
I think that the opportunity in it, and we've started the conversation about renewable energy. Regional Australia, the shape of regional Australia is going to change because they are going to become part of our renewable energy suppliers as well. So the workforce and inclusion, as you say, one extra family moving into regional Australia. And this city life, we saw it in COVID. It's not necessarily the ideal thing. Post-COVID, people are being attracted back to it, but what can we do as government to incentivise people to move and stay out in the regions to support the regional infrastructure that comes with a different shaped electricity supply?
Now, Parliamentary Secretary for Disability Inclusion, so 20 years' time.
Employment.
What's it going to look like?
Yeah, the whole recruitment process, it will be normal to have people with disabilities who actually are not scared of saying they have a disability in your workplace. Sitting beside us in the workplace, there will be adjustments, there will be celebrations of diversity, we'll have a voice, but I actually believe the goal is looking at 5%, mate, let's put it up to 15, 20%. Absolutely.
Yeah, very good.
And across Australia.
Across Australia?
So across Australia, and it's at the moment Amanda Rushworth's looking at the disability employment sector. And at the moment, the disability employment sector is getting paid a lot of money and not delivering very well. So a big shake-up there is definitely going to help that. But as I said, the generational change of kids coming through have got a different understanding. It's worked in other countries, and let's see that it works here too and make sure that we facilitate that to happen.
And then the big one. What's Australia in 50 years? What's Australia look like in 50 years' time?
Well, it's going to be a little bit older. And that's a reality. I mean, and even Gosford is a future population as far as an ageing population goes. So, as I said before, our population of over 85s is going to triple in the next 10 years. We're going to live long enough to be in that group there. And so you have a think about the whole housing structure, which is going to be a boon for people with disabilities. But the housing structure of what we need to deliver, we're not going to have the same space to spread out. And we are going to be going up. So the shape of our communities and government supporting communities in in our township little levels is super, super important. And delivering the health resources we need, as it sounds really selfish, the health resources, I want to be able to age with dignity and live in my community. So there's a whole bunch of work to be done to make sure that these pods of regions can continue to operate with happiness and the sense of community and resource, and the cross-section of oldies and the kids living and working together.
Very good. So is there any other section of the community that you would like to have a vision for, and everyone here to have a vision for, that would just change things, you know?
Well, you know what? Part of it is about staying the same. Our coslands on the Central Coast, the beautiful green space that we have sitting behind us on all those hills. As a sailor, you sail past Sydney and it's built to the skyline. You sail past the coast and it's green. I walk the dog and look across and it's green and it's green and it's green. This is a treasure that is going to be so much more appreciated in 50 years' time. So there's a lot of making sure that we hold on to the natural beauty of the coast and we don't destroy the natural beauty.
While we develop and we grow up, as you were saying before, being able to keep the parklands and the birds which we can hear in the background and things.
Absolutely, but I also think we've got a really growing Aboriginal population here on the coast, and we really don't have that much cultural understanding. Some of us have some cultural understanding, but I think the kids in school are learning some truth-telling about the history of Australia and appreciation of Aboriginal culture and heritage. And just across there, we've got some of the richest Aboriginal rock art in Australia. So making sure that that is celebrated and possibly shared appropriately. So we've all got a better understanding and respect for the oldest culture in the world.
Yeah, very good. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Wow, this has been too easy.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful.
If you ever want to come back, we'd love to hear from you. And,
Yeah.
And we can do this again.
Beautiful. Great. Bring it on before the rain.
Thank you very much, Australia. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll speak to you again next time.